I think it's ready. I think we're ready.
Aloha, aloha.
See, you can't do that. You think you're gonna do it, and I'm like, nah, you ain't gonna get me today.
I jumped the gun.
You jumped. There was a gun. This is the gun. You jumped it. You jumped the gun. Jumped the
Yeah.
gun. All right. Aloha Manga Club. It is your boy, Lohali, signing in with another amazing episode of the Manga Club podcast with special returning guest, Shaegeeksout. Shae,
Hey guys!
how are you doing this morning? Evening. It's evening.
Yes, it's evening. I'm doing well. It's been a long day, but I'm happy to be here.
And Jin, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Trying to fight this heat.
Fight this heat. This
This
natural heat. This
Alright.
natural heat.
Trying to do that and fight these feelings.
Can't stop a feeling. Whoa, whoa. So,
You know, what's love? Baby, don't hurt me.
lots of jokes is what love is.
Yes. All right, let's stop with the song references. I got them all, by the way.
I'm glad somebody got stuck on a feeling. So, today, what we want to talk about and what Shae brought up to me is we would like to talk about what does Mangatube mean to you? Not necessarily just as a creator, but as a consumer, as an enthusiast of a collector. You know, all across the board, what does Mangatube mean to your heart, your brain, and your eyes? So,
What about my spirit?
and your spirit. For those of you that cannot see, I was waving my hands like a ghost. It's terribly spooky. So, Shae, what kind of brought up the idea to discuss Mangatube as a whole?
Well, one, it's a topic you haven't really talked about in what I've seen of the podcasts, but MangaTube is a ever-growing community, and more we're getting more and more content creators coming into the space. So I think it would be nice for all of us to just kind of sit and think and revisit about what MangaTube means to us, like how we came to MangaTube, what it means to us now, what we're hoping to get from MangaTube in the future, all those kinds of things. It just felt like a really good discussion point.
You know what? I'm really, really intrigued because this has been something that's been going around the community for the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We've been discussing it kind of in small pockets, small little side discussions, but we haven't really dived into what it actually means to be a MangaTuber. You know, what are the responsibilities on our shoulders? What are the expectations that we hold for ourselves and our fellow creators? What does the consumer, the audience, our friendship, our clubs, what do they really require from us to have a fun, successful time on YouTube? I think
Exactly.
Again, we've been discussing a lot, starting, what was that, 3 weeks ago, Jin? Did you make that video 3 weeks ago?
The quality video? It's been at least 2.
2-ish?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
it was 3. It was 3 because it was Alonzi's, then it was Base Senpai,
And then me.
and then...
So that would be 2 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, I am totally geeking out over
How
here.
long ago was your birthday, Lohali?
You mean my YouTube birthday? Yeah, no, it was okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that was 3 weeks
No,
ago. My
how
bad.
long ago was your real birthday?
It was 4 manga clubs ago, but like 2 weeks ago. It's weird. This is the 4th manga. Y'all know what's going on. Anyway, back to the thing. So Jin created an amazing video that was there to challenge the precepts of what was going on. You know, what is important? Is it quality or is it community? And it started this huge discussion, and I think it's still raging on in many a small pocket on YouTube, obviously. But I want to let's start by going a little bit wider, Shae. Let's go as wide as we possibly can. What does being a MangaTuber mean to you?
Well, I can't say I'm strictly a MangaTuber, so I am like the weird exception to this discussion because I still consider myself a booktuber, but also a MangaTuber. I identify with both spaces. Now, I have to say, I do think my subscribership is much more manga-based than book-based. But a lot of the manga readers do come to my channel for also book recommendations because they don't really see it in other places in their feed. where people are also talking about manga as much as I do. I mean, I consume manga at an insane rate. Let's just be real. I'm regularly reading at least one volume a day, if not more. Some days it's multiple. Tomorrow I have intentions to read 6. Life is crazy.
Okay, 1 second. I just want to hold that thought. 6?
Yes, 6 volumes of manga in one day.
That's fairly impressive.
It's for a particular video project that I'm working on, because being somebody who came into manga later in life, I missed out on some of those classic series. So I've taken a classic shoujo, and I'm reading through the entire series for the first time as a grown woman and coming to it with my thoughts now.
Are you going to be over the moon about it?
It is Sailor Moon. I have talked about this openly on Twitter. I am halfway through at this point. I'm not ready to fully reveal my thoughts on it, but needless to say, my opinions might greatly differ from the general public.
Oh, really?
We'll see how the second half of the series goes. I'm only halfway through, so.
Dun, dun, dun.
So, Jin, what does being a mangatuber mean to you then?
Oh man, I feel like this is like more of a bigger growth question on that. Because looking back, like when I first came into it, it was just kind of to talk about it, and then now I would say it's not so much focused on manga; it's more on friendship. It's more like like fairy tale.
The power of friendship.
The power of friendship. And then still getting into good conversations about manga and all that other stuff. Growing from there.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So where do you kind of see yourself in the future, Shae, like with this?
No, you gotta answer first, Lohili.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're not getting away with it.
For me, being a mangatuber is a lot about the integrity of what we do. And I know that sounds really weird and that's not very specific, but I think that being open and honest with your community is the absolute high point of being a mangatuber. They're coming to you because of your personality, your recommendations, and your overall knowledge of the subject. So if you aren't being open and honest with them, you're not really being a mangatuber. You're entertaining them, sure, but you're not giving them what they deserve and what they're actually coming for. And that's just for me. So I always try to be open and honest with every single one of my videos. That's why I try to do everything that I can physically do in one take. The 30-minute video that I made on Monday was all one take, minus about a 4-second thing where I totally spaced on the names of Zabuza and Kaku. I keep forgetting his name, but Zabuza from Naruto, I spaced on that, and I had to like cut a 4-second clip. That's me being transparent. The rest of that entire thing was 100% one take, one try.
See, for me, I do regularly edit my videos, but it's usually just I edit out the big spaces or like something like that. Lots of likes or ums, like those just general pauses. Everything else is just organically me. And there's only been one video where I've ever done more than one take. All of mine are one take, off the cuff, not scripted, me.
And you know what? I will say, let me rephrase this. I will have Sydney sit and watch some of my video. Like, she helps me record every single one because my lens puts me at 6 feet away, and I have to be in the exact same spot because it is such a touchy lens. Like, if I move 3 inches forward, I get fuzzy. 3 inches back, I get fuzzy. So I have to have her start it and stop it and like get me into focus. Hopefully that'll all change soon. Couldn't see that wink. It was existent.
Like you might be buying one of those mat with the feet print on it.
I thought about it. I've seriously thought about that. I actually use tape to mark my feet sometimes. But I will make a video in one take. But if I feel like I can do a better job at conveying my feelings and my thoughts, I will go through and do the entire thing again. There's been times where I've recorded 2 or 3 7 to 10 minute long videos, like twice. 2 or 3 times because I was not happy with the initial result. I knew that I could give more of myself. I knew that I could give more honesty, more respect to what's going on, and I would have a better flow. But then there's sometimes that I do one take and I'm like, that was literally all the emotion that I physically had in my body for the day. I cannot get another take like that.
Yeah, and see, for me, like, I will regularly scrap videos where I get editing it and I'm like, none of this is working right. And then sometimes I'll go back and redo them later, but a lot of times I don't. I'm like, clearly, whatever I was trying to say, I wasn't ready to say it yet. So I'm just going to leave this alone and it'll come up another way. And so that's why when I share those like sit down organic discussion kinds of videos, they don't happen that often because I film them a lot more often than that. But I'll get all the information out and I can't edit it into anything cohesive. And so I just scrap it.
What about you, Jen?
Like, I have a lot to say about that, like quality versus community discussion, but I haven't been able to articulate it in the correct way yet, which is why you haven't seen a video about it yet.
Yes. What about you, Jen? How do you film your videos for the community?
I usually do it all in one go, unless for whatever reason I was getting tired at that point. Because I don't, some of the stuff recently, I don't get to do it until after everybody goes to bed. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. And I had like 2 big ones I had to do. And I finished one. I was like, man, this is great. Love it. Okay, sign off. Yeah. I got to the other one and I was sitting there and I just kind of like sat back and I was like, I finished this video and I don't know what I did. And so I sat there and I actually went back and there's 3 videos for it. And I was like, I'm deleting this and restarting, whatever. Because I was sitting there and it was reading off of a list on the side of the computer. It was community challenge stuff. And it was, it's not spoiling anything. It was a video because I feel like even though I do the 30 people that have their own individual, I still feel like everybody else needs one. And so I did 2 videos with 30 people each. And, so it's pretty lengthy here and there. And I was just sitting there looking at the list and I jumped from like number 5 to number 7. And from 7, it just kind of went to like 30. And I was like, I am not posting this. I don't even know where I was. And I found out because I have that list that I did. And then I have a list of everybody in chronological order to, or alphabetical order to actually put their links into the description. And I ended up reading off of both and going to the other one in the first video. And I was like, what am I doing? So I had to step back and be like, okay, am I fully awake? Do I have my attention on what I'm doing? Good. Let's get into it.
And I mean, it's so interesting. Most of the time, I can only really film 1 video a day. I really do struggle with the concept of multiple video takes. Like, 1 video a day will mentally and physically, like, crush me like that. And it's not a fun time. But
and see, for me, just because it's so organically myself, I don't feel like I'm creating a persona that's anybody but me online. It's just like me having a conversation here with you. Like, that's how I feel like when I'm behind the camera. I don't feel like I have to put on this mask to film. I'm just me. I turn on my camera and I start talking. And so for me, I don't feel like it expends all this extra energy from me to film because of that, because I'm just so organic behind the camera, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, for me, since I literally try to pour as much as much emotion as I physically can into each video, like even the most basic video by me,
Kaladin, come here, dude.
Really does drain me emotionally. I'm like, there's sometimes that I'm so energized and I get it done. I'm like, man, that was all of it. Like when I did the describing delinquency, defining delinquency, that video, and I actually dressed up in full leather outfit, the emotion portions of what I was talking about literally just knocked me on my rear. And I got done. I was like, I can't do another take. I cannot physically do another take, even though it was kind of a character, but I was still trying to tell my truth, tell my story, be honest with myself, and that's really what I try to get across, is this honesty deep within me.
But see, that was one that did require more effort because you were being your delinquent self, not your everyday self. And so that is a bit of a change in who you are, but not a huge one. And so it's enough to zap a lot of your energy.
Absolutely. And I get very, very distracted if I film more than one video a day. I'm like, oh, hey, look, I made a video. There we go. What is that over there? And I run off.
Shiny. Let's go do that. Let's go watch One Piece.
Oh, yeah, no. Or, like, I'll be sitting here editing a thumbnail, and I've gotten good enough that my thumbnails, I can, if I work very, very hard and very, very fast, I can get them done in about 20 to 30 minutes, maybe, at max. Unless I'm distracted, then they take me, like, 3 hours.
And see, my thumbnails take me, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
I have mine down to, like, this solid system, 5 minutes.
I keep trying something new because I'm never happy with my thumbnails.
I think I finally have mine into an aesthetic that feels like me. And that's something that I guess as a YouTuber or Mangatuber, you kind of have to create for yourself. As you get into the community more, you see people have a certain brand or look to their thumbnails, and people will experiment when they're first like starting out, but then they kind of get their look and their thing and they stick with it. And that's good because that's you creating your own brand of who you are.
Exactly. My brand is obviously 4th grade level editing skills with thumbnails.
Oh, I feel the same way sometimes. Mine is like, put on the biggest, cheesiest smile you can and put your thumb up.
See,
put your thumb up, Jen Graves. And then I'll be like, okay. So, I mean, you guys have seen some of the ones with the community challenge. Trying to find a really good video with somebody smiling never happens.
Unless it's me.
I have learned if you can't get it in the first 5 minutes of them introducing themselves or the first 5 minutes at the end of the video, it's not happening. I mean, because then you got to get in the middle and you're like, I've been watching this person for like the past 24 hours. How do I come up with this? So, I'll jump around to videos trying to find a good one of somebody. And so now I'm kind of like, if I can just get a serious face, I will take it. So some people, it looks like they're kind of angry. They're like, I'm like, that's good enough. I will take it.
Unless they're a weirdo like me and have like perma smile, then it's really easy to.
I don't actually think I've seen you frown. Can you frown? Is it physically possible for you to frown?
Yes. I was frowning earlier today, so yes, it's very possible.
I'm glad we've never had to see it. I think it would break my heart if we had to see you frown.
Well, that's sweet. Thank you. I'm just kind of the Mangatube big sis / mom. That's just who I am, and that's okay.
Yeah, you are the Mangatube mom.
I just try to take care of my peeps. I love them. I'm the mother hen. That's who I am.
You will take us all.
I just want everybody to come together and give each other a big hug under my wings. It's all good.
I'm like that kitten that you're like, oh, I'm a mama hen, and here's my kitten, not chicken. And kittens and chickens are adorable together. I'm not gonna lie.
It's true. I like kittens a lot.
Anyway,
they can scratch me all they want. I don't care.
Back on our normal topic of trying to stay on topic.
Wait, so side story, did y'all see the little documentary thing where the mama cat like took care of like the baby ducks? That's so cute.
I actually have seen that. My favorite is the chicken that you pick up and there are 3 kittens underneath it.
Yeah.
So back on the hardest part about the Manga Club live stream with Shae, staying on subject. AKA,
yeah, because Tangent Land is a real thing when Shayla's on.
AKA Tangent Land 3.0.
Yes.
The threepening.
The threepening?
Hey, like, got the Tangent Land 1, the Tangent Land 2, the Tangenting, and now this is the threepening. You gotta be clever.
I don't like these names.
It's like happening, except for when you get to the part with an E, it's just a backwards E that's a letter 3, so it's like happa-through-ending. It's real complicated. Super complicated. So When you first started, what was kind of your step-by-step process to really entrench yourself and separate yourself as a Mangatube creator?
For me, you were talking to me, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, just making sure. So for me, think it. I don't think I ever really truly did anything to make myself stand out. Most people found me through Laura over at the Manga Hoarder. She was a pretty big champion of mine because she came to me for book recommendations. And then from there, we ended up doing the 24-hour Tezuka readathon together. And a lot of people found me then because that was a readathon that I hosted with Laura and Jen. And so a lot of people are like, oh, who is this chick? And then they came and checked out my channel and found me. And it's just kind of organically been a thing because I've just slowly and organically began reading manga, and then I just slowly infiltrated the community. I was already a booktuber, still trying to find my way, and then I saw people starting to read manga, started to explore manga myself for the first time, and here we are like 2 years later.
Doing the amazingness that is Mangatube. What about you, Jin? What were your first kind of steps to become part of the community? What was your initial goal?
Actually never had one. Like, I didn't really care. It was more of a personal goal. And I mean, Mascio J remembers because he was one of my like first 15 people, but it was like trying just to like do reviews on all of my collection and then go from there. And after that point, though, after the Shueisha scare and me taking down like all my reviews and whatnot, it was more of trying to develop my channel of, you know, don't worry about reviews. That's something that everybody does. You know, try and focus on doing other stuff. And the reviews is just something you can kind of talk about in the comments, or if you run out of video ideas, you can come back to it and then do reviews, you know, stuff like that. Because it was just kind of like, that's something that everybody can do. It's pretty easy to do that, especially when you love manga as much. And you know, moving forward from there. So I would say that that was really the first big thing that actually happened where I was kind of more conscious about the channel.
Okay, now I'm going to put my 2 cents here about reviews. My top 3 videos on my channel are all reviews, all manga-based reviews or anime-related reviews. I want to clarify right there. But you might not get as much kick initially with a review, but those are the long-running staples of your channel because those are the things that people are going to come back for. They're not necessarily going to come back for the super relevant tag or whatever is hot at the minute. They'll come back for things like your big collection videos and reviews because you'll constantly have somebody new to manga saying, oh, I want reviews of Dr. Stone, or I want reviews of Eden Zero, or whatever. And they'll search that. And your video will pop up probably pretty high because you've been on for a while. And so those are the things that are going to keep your like watch time minutes. If you're wanting to like grow and make money with YouTube, watch time minutes are a big thing. Those are going to be the things that people are going to come back and watch for and spend time watching. So I'm not going to say like you have to do reviews, but I'm saying you shouldn't stay away from reviews just because you don't see as much initially with them, because those are your long running stuff. Like my most watched video on my channel at this moment is a book to movie comparison with Howl's Moving Castle. And that is nothing but geek and otaku culture. And the next 2 under that are my 2 reviews for the Orange omnibuses. First is reading Orange initially, and then the second one is I finished Orange. And so those are my other top 2 videos on my channel. That's my top 3 right there. And my 4th one just recently became my manga collection video.
And I will agree with most of what you're saying, that the evergreenness of manga collection and manga reviews, which is what they are, they're evergreen content, They don't necessarily have a lot of push power in the very beginning, but they're going to be the things that constantly are just moving forward and forward and forward and forward until you get to the point where they are some of your most viewed videos. However, then you have somebody like myself. I don't want to necessarily say that I'm an exception to the rule, but if you take a look, out of my top 10 videos, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos that have broken 1,000 views, 2 videos that have broken 1,500 views, and 1 video that's broken 3,600 views. I have my manga collection, and I do not actually have two of the top 10 are 2 manga collection videos that I've done. Everything else is a manga haul, with number 2 actually being a list video, which is another form of evergreen content, which is something that I think can pertain to reviews, but I think it's a little bit different. The content that you create, Shae, is absolutely amazing, and it's part of the reason why you continue to grow. It's just evergreen, and we all need to find this evergreen that works for us. None of my reviews are in my top 10. They're all like negative, like 300 views or less, actually. And that's also because I'm absolutely terrible at talking about series. I'm like, you want to read it? Go read it. Otherwise, I'm going to spoil the entire series. I'm terrible at reviews.
I don't want to talk
It's
about.
true. You guys are big on the spoilers. Like, there have been some times where I'm like, no, you're going to spoil it for me.
I literally am half tempted to put like a spoiler.
Yeah, Stevie even piped up over here. He's been mad because he's heard spoilers.
I'm sorry.
Tell them to shut
spoiling
up.
One Piece for me, man.
Tell them to shut up.
Okay, you cannot blame One Piece on me. That's like the scene that we spoiled was like is like 13 years old.
So this have only been in manga a very short amount of time.
And One Piece is my #1 recommendation to read. You know that, Shae. You know that.
I know, and I'm reading it. Thank you.
Hey, I just want to tell you guys though, my #1 I feel really dirty about, which is one of my reviews I never took off.
Which is what?
It's the Monster Girl encyclopedias.
It is the Monster Girl encyclopedia.
Of course, it's Monster Girls. Between you and Mike, man, it's Monster Girl heaven.
So I left them on there, and I was like, nobody will say anything about these. This isn't manga. If I show the pages in these, that aren't like explicit weirdo stuff or whatever, then I don't have to worry about it. And then, like, it was actually Lohali that got me onto it. He's like, dude, you need to put this on your page. And I look at it, and every time I log on, I see it. And I'm like, did that go up to 4,000? I'm disgusted with this community.
As a creator, I'm disappointed in all of you. Thank you, and I love you.
Stop watching that video.
Yet you and Mike sit and champion Monster Girls all the time. You can't be that mad.
Oh, he's not.
Whoa. It's fine. But when it gets, like, I bought that book not knowing what I was getting into, and I read the first, like, person, and I was like, what did I get? It was one of those, like, things, like, you were like, do I, like, hide this under my bookshelf, or where do I put this?
Apparently prominently displayed upon your shelf.
I see people with, like, really good, like, BL collections or, like, books that they got from, like, Faku, and I'm like, okay, I can leave this out, because at least mine looks like, a regular textbook or something like that. I don't have to worry about it.
It's for science.
Seriously.
For science.
It's for science.
I swear, guys, it's just my Monster Girl encyclopedia just for science. Real life, real world applicable science. Next thing you know, he's going to be calling himself Dr. Shao Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist. It's just for science, guys. Just for see?
No.
See? Yeah. Terrible jokes. Terrible jokes.
Very.
And they're all appreciated by me. So, what's kind of the middle? What's something that you would recommend to a mangatuber when they first started out? What's something that you wish that you had known? Like this one little piece of advice, because we're gonna keep building and building on top of this advice.
How expensive collecting really gets, but we're getting videos about that.
I have never made a video about that because that would be a terrible idea on my part.
Why?
Yeah, it would.
Because because my videos skew everything so much just because since I do buy used mainly.
And see, I would be much more interested in seeing a video from you as somebody who only strictly buys used. You very rarely buy new.
Yeah, because
Where me, I mostly buy new. I've only bought a handful of used because buying them new seemed silly.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, this is silly. I don't want to pay.
But like all my new volumes, like you guys would probably be floored if you knew how much I spent every week.
Yeah.
I'm sure Jin has me beat, but I'm not far behind him every week. He's just into many more series than I am.
Right. Oh man.
Jin's having a heart attack.
How's your Operation TBR going, Jin?
Now you're making me think of like the last time I walked into Barnes and Noble. I went in and I saw one person had another book, and I almost walked up like it was one of those like, here, we'll use manga because we're a channel. So they were standing here, and I walked all the way up to here to almost touch them on the shoulder and be like, hey, don't buy that. Go on Right Stuff or something. Please don't buy that book here. It was the big thick book for another, and it's like over $30, and I was like, for the community, I bought it like that, but I regret it. I wish I could sell it back and buy it for 20 off of Right Stuff.
So here is an interesting thought, and I want to get your take on this because I have a little bit of a different take. And this is coming from all of us, all three of us. This is coming from Linlin. Linlin said a Mangatuber's first video should be a collection video or a top 10 series video. What is your hot take on that?
I disagree.
All right, you go first. You keep making me and Shae go first. We want you to go first.
Is that right, Shae? Am I going first?
Sure.
I don't know. Shae responded first, so she's going.
I completely disagree. It should be whatever the freak you want your video to be. It's your channel. It's your brand. Don't let anybody tell you how to start it. It should be whatever you want to make. On the Shelf did a tribute to a particular mangaka that he loved, and he's doing just great. So you can start however you want to start.
Boom. You hear that, internet? Shae's getting serious. I saw there was a little bit of hairstyler sass in that.
Oh, always.
I saw that and I appreciate that, just so you know.
It's been a busy work day. I got my sass on.
I got my sass on.
I'm never like that. Just so you know.
I am actually like that in real life. I
throw that. And I am not, and I'm in the profession.
Darn right. I throw. Lohali is the sassafras.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll go next.
Lohali is the James Charles of the manga community.
Oh goodness. No, we are not talking about James Charles. Moving
on. So I'm under a similar opinion as you, Shae, with one caveat. My very first video on this channel, if you go back and look, the very first one that I have up was actually a review for one of the first chapters of Eden's Zero. That's what I did. I talked about Eden Zero. It's exclusively it. And it helped me kind of get an idea of what I wanted to voice, which is awesome. The caveat that I will say is I would do a large manga collection video if you have a large manga collection. If you have 10 volumes, no one is going to care. I hate to be that guy. If you have 10 volumes, call it a haul video, call it something else. But if you have a very, very large collection and you are serious about being a mangatuber, about being a creator, then I would use that leverage that you have to try to give yourself this really, really good start. But know that is probably going to be your worst quality video. Hate to say that your very first video is 95% of the time going to be one of the worst videos that you have ever created.
My first video on my channel was a birthday haul that I randomly filmed in my office with just a few books and other geeky things. Like, it's horrible. I've never privated it, so you can go and watch it because I don't believe in privating videos. It's a personal thing.
And then
I I have mine privated right now just because they're already uploaded. So I'm like, oh, I don't have all the room on my phone. Let me open this video today. Click. There we go. That's the only reason.
And Linlin, I will agree. Like, it's an okay starter thing, but if you haven't ever read manga before, but you want to get into the Mangatube community, I don't think you have. I don't want to say the authority, but you don't have the knowledge to make a proper top 10. You haven't even read 10 series. You don't own 10 series. Not saying that you can't make a top 10 characters, because there could be 10 characters, but a top 10 series video when you don't have 10 or no one knows your authority, I think is kind of a waste. And that's the other thing. Establishing who you are, your personality, is establishing your authority. That's what it is. That's what you do. You establish who you are, what you are doing with those first videos. And while it will change over time, it lets you get an idea. And, you know, Cup of Water said something pretty interesting a few sentences ago, and he said, you know, he wished that he had started out slower. And that's actually really, really interesting, because if you start off with a manga collection video, what is your next step going to be? You know, are you going to force yourself to go slower and just do hauls? You know, what is your channel going to be about? Are you going to be the manga haul, manga collection guy? Or are you going to be the manga discussion guy? Or gal? Equal opportunity.
Or are you going to be some sort of hybrid brand of both? I mean, my hauls, they're big and they're epic, but I only film them quarterly, so I have a lot of other content in the meantime.
Right. Yeah. In my first video, I think was my favorite shelf, which only had like 15 series on it. And, you know, it was more not for people. It was for me doing my first one. And if somebody saw a series that I liked, then they could jump on and say, hey, so I heard that you like this series. Da 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 da. I actually think that if you have a pretty substantial collection, don't go out and just post it. Honestly, I really don't think you should do that. I'm gonna make a joke here, so guys, stick with it. A lot of things are sexual, and you just kind of want to tease people when you get into it. Don't look at me like that. You know, so I mean, just everything. Whoa! You read all this.
Hey, I am proud of the smut that I read, but I still don't read ecchi or hentai.
No, it doesn't. No, I mean not hentai. I just mean like with everything.
I read my smutty romance, and I have my abtastic covers, and I have no shame. I will admit that up front.
Abtastic covers.
You have to tease the people with what you're putting out for them to get into it. You know, kind of like what we just said with Lohali's first video for Eden Zero. He teased the community with Eden Zero to try and get you to read it.
No, actually, I just really, really loved Eden Zero. I was like, dude, this is actually really good.
Call it that.
He was just an Eden Zero fanboy, and that's okay.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I have a whole dedicated video where I fangirl about Yona of the Dawn, and I'd only read the first like 6 volumes at that point.
I'd only read the first.
I have consumed everything that is published, and I do the second it comes out, and the second I can get my hands on it.
When I read that very first chapter of Eden Zero, I was like, this is going to be better than slightly terrible. Thank you. And actually, that's how I met a few good people on Mangatube. Like Manga Fairy reached out to me because she was looking to do review videos as well, and she took off. She exploded. I don't know if you're watching this, Manga Fairy, but I still appreciate all of your videos and all of your support. Sorry, I got emotional.
Oh, you're good. You're good. And that's just it. Each of us have something different to bring to the Mangatube community, which is why telling someone how to start their channel feels wrong. Because if you tell them how to start it, it's not going to be an organic, real thing for them where they learn how they're going to fit in the community. You know, each and every one of us, each of the 3 of us in this conversation are all very different Mangatubers. We all create very different kinds of content, and we all have different things that we're offering to the table, not just in what we're reading, but how we present it, what we talk about on our channels in general, discussion, you know, points of view that we have. Everybody has a voice in this community, They need to decide how they want to start. Yes, the general consensus of the community at large is usually to start with a manga collection video. But if you're new to manga, I mean, Alonzi got really lucky being able to start with his small manga collection video. But I think he's done a lot more to offer things since then that give him the clout and the momentum that he needs. Where On the Shelf started a little bit different. He started with his favorite mangaka and went from there. And he likewise is growing really well. Highland Manga started with, I forget what her first video was, but her second one was like a tips on how to like take better care of your manga and to help with yellowing and some things like that. And she's taking off like a rocket recently. Like these are 3 of the new manga tubers that are growing really fast. And they all brought something different to the table in the beginning of their channel. So I don't feel it's right to tell somebody how to start their channel. Like, that's just how I'm going to feel about that. Because all of us are going to bring something different. So why tell someone how to start?
I 100%
I'm sure
agree.
each one of us had a different starting video. I mean, technically my first manga video was a wrap-up where I talked about reading Fairy Tail because that was the first manga I ever read. The first volume of manga.
Because it's the greatest manga ever, duh.
And we all know that's not true.
Whoa.
Fairy Tail is not the greatest manga ever, but it was my first one because I wanted to test the format. Being an avid reader and a watcher of anime, I wanted to test the format of manga because I knew it was flipped, and I wanted to see if I could handle it and how I would deal with it. But, you know, from there, I took off and read lots of great classic series and have had a great time, and my collection's huge now. I'm running out of shelf space, people.
It's like the 3rd best.
I wouldn't even say that. I'm actually unhauling all my Fairy Tail, let's be honest.
All of it? Every single piece of Fairy Tail you're unhauling?
All 15 volumes, they're all gonna go bye-bye.
I mean, you could put them in a box and try to sell them to MIGs. That was a...
If I had honestly thought about that, I have a brother that married a Brazilian wife. They just left for Brazil yesterday. If I had thought about it, I could have had them take it down with them and ship it to him in country. That would have actually been really good. Oops.
That would have been hilarious. And by the way, for those of you that do not know, that is a deep cut Mangatube joke from like 9 months ago. It's amazing. Unless it's still going on and I'm not aware of it. Those deep cuts right there.
What? You know it is still going on.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. But it's all good.
Sure.
We're not here to spill the tea. Moving on.
I do love tea.
Mangatube Mama stepping in. No, we're playing nice.
We're playing nice. Migs actually does some really high quality videos. Like his videos are exceptionally high quality. He films them in 4K. Again, I'm not gonna say.
Right. I think the funnest part is getting titles, I guess. Whenever you do post videos and whatnot, your posting style, how you act, all this other stuff though, like you know, I used to be the guy that posted 100 videos every month, you know, kind of thing, and then it went from like that to like the King of Ichi. Thanks talking Mike for stealing that. Woo. And you know, then it kind of went from there. Like I held off on my collection video, and now obviously how Lohali announces me or introduces me to people every manga club now obviously speaks for itself on that.
The man with the biggest TBR? Sorry. I couldn't help myself.
It's not that big.
I'm sorry. Like, percentage-wise, it may not be that big compared to anybody else's.
You have a bigger TBR than I do.
Yeah, but your TBR, even if it's only 5% of your series, that's like 400 volumes.
That's still a lot of volumes, sir.
Hey, so I know if we ever lose manga over here, I'll have stuff to read.
Oh, gosh.
Ridiculous. So, we're kind of coming into the last quarter of the show, and there's some more subjects that I really, really, really want to touch on. One of them being, what do you find the hardest part about being a manga tuber?
Oh, I'm gonna think for a second. If somebody else has an answer, step in.
All right, Jin, this is your time to shine.
Yeah, woo! Honestly, I feel like making the community better by alternative means is the worst. You know, I've told Lily this like whenever I did put that quality video out and some other ones that I've put out since then and whatnot were basically ripping off the band-aid for certain things and whatnot. And I didn't intend to have a divide or anything. I intended for it to make our community better. And, you know, I feel like it has at some points and then it hasn't at other points. And, you know, I'm one of those people that try and take, like, if anybody says, like, oh, I'm going to hate somebody, I'm like, well, then hate me. And just as long as I've been on here, everybody knows that I'm a really good person and all that. And so nobody can ever do that. And so whenever somebody else kind of takes the brunt of it, it makes me kind of feel like, well, you know, pull it back. You know, it was me that did it, you know, and it doesn't ever happen that way. So
No, it's true, but that's the one thing that you have to realize and take responsibility with is if you're going to be in charge of ripping off the Band-Aid, there are going to be repercussions. There are going to be there's there's a chance that the wound that you're ripping the Band-Aid off of can get infected. I mean, plain and simple. It can fester, it can kill the limb. I mean, and that's a risk that you have to be willing to take at that time. And to get bigger, you have to take risks that you're afraid may end up backfiring on you. Because if you think that something's holding you back, holding the community back, even if it's the nicest, most well-intentioned thing, you need to rip that Band-Aid off, and you have to be prepared for potential pain and injury from that, and then come back stronger. What doesn't kill you will leave you wounded for a while.
And that's the hardest part about being in any sort of YouTube space, is there's always going to be feelings of creators and your subscribers that you have to take into account when you're doing discussion videos or talking about something that's slightly controversial within your community. Because all of us have opinions and all of us are going to feel like we have to take a side when somebody's ripping off a Band-Aid of something in the community. Like this quality versus community thing. I don't necessarily think that they're individualized. They should be put together. We should be putting out as high of quality videos as we are capable of doing while also building this community. Both can be done for not a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of money to make good quality content. For the longest time, I filmed in front of an open window with my phone. Like, I did that for a really long time with my videos. And outside of the first, 6 months, I would say, I think my quality is quite good. And, it's slowly, as I've been able to invest the money, gotten better and better and better. It's a slow investment over time when it comes to quality in a channel. Community is something you can start building from the beginning, but I think they should go hand in hand always. I don't think they should be separated. So that's where I stand on this kind of quality versus community thing. There shouldn't be a versus with it. It should go together. So this is why I've had a hard time articulating it and to put it into a video, because I don't agree with either side necessarily, because they should go together.
And I mean, not to toot my own horn, which I'd like to avoid doing, but that's what I tried. See, Jin's tooting it for me.
Toot, toot.
The world's tiniest tugboat. But that's what the Manga Club is about, My Monday videos, I try to absolutely create the 100% best video that I physically can. Like, everything within my power is there to make the best video. Then I have these community. The Manga Club is specifically conversations for the community. It lets us get to know other creators better, helps us build friendships and connections, and lets the club get to know us better, and that's building the community, and that's what I try to balance out week to week, is having, high quality and building the community, because I think that they're absolutely imperative to one another. If you can have a community without high quality, and high quality without a community, but they complement each other just so well. Like a warm
They're
cookie.
meant to go together.
Like a warm
They are
cookie.
the pieces of the same puzzle. They should go together.
Like a warm cookie and milk.
Oh yeah, because I made it a triangle.
It's like a cookie and milk. You have to have both.
Oh no! Now you're making me think of.
Hi,
Stage
Cindy.
left. Somebody bring me a cookie too.
That was perfect timing.
Where's your milk?
Sydney, where's my milk? You drank it. That was cold.
Aw.
This is just quality right here. There's no community. I'm gonna stop eating, even though they're delicious. Just so y'all know. So what is... Shae, what is your biggest fear as a Mangatube?
My biggest fear, other than running out of shelf space,
and not having enough milk for your cookies.
As a manga tuber, I think my biggest fear is that. Well, this is me being really transparent. So, my biggest fear is that I'm not contributing enough to the community. Like, I'm not bringing the kind of content that my viewers deserve. And I think that's something that's very normal for any YouTube content creator to feel. But recently, though I'm really pleased with the stuff that I'm coming out with, I still worry that it's not what my viewership really wants. So I hope with all my heart that that's what they're really wanting, and me exploring these older classic series that have so much nostalgia behind them. My biggest fear is that people are gonna at me and people are gonna hate me, and I think all of that's very normal to feel when you're doing something that might be slightly controversial, like reading Sailor Moon as a 33-year-old adult that didn't read it 30 years ago with everybody else.
I mean, I'm a 25-year-old male and I've never read Sailor Moon.
Right, but most of my friends have read or watched Sailor Moon, and they know the story. And any good shoujo person has read Sailor Moon and Cardcaptor Sakura. These are things that I'm coming into now because I missed the wave when I was younger. I was enough older than the wave that it was uncool to be part of it because I was just older. So it just didn't work. So coming into it now, older as a grown adult, obviously my opinions are going to be very different because I don't have the nostalgia factor behind me.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, my biggest fear is I'm not contributing enough and people are going to hate me. There's my biggest fear.
Well, I don't think anyone can physically hate you. You're just too bubbly and happy and nice.
Well,
Again,
thank you.
You just got to start singing the opening to the anime song, and everybody will be like, nostalgia!
No.
Yeah. What about you, Jin? What is your biggest fear as a Mangatube?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't have a fear?
I never think about that.
Why not?
Because I don't really have fears when it comes to it. It's kind of like that whole talk that we've had before. If, like, you lose your collection, would you still do, like, manga tubing or whatever? Could you recover from it? And on the same thing, it's kind of like, hopefully things would happen where I could start collecting and moving forward still, whatnot. But I would say my biggest fear is just like my regular fear would be like losing part of my friends that I've made on Mangatube.
Losing your community is what you're afraid of.
I don't know.
Or your quote-unquote harem, as you call them.
My harem, yeah. Woo.
Your ecchi harem, huh? Am I best ecchi boy? Or is that still Otaku Mike? I knew it. You're not responding fast enough. It's Mike.
No, I had to think about that because I was like, didn't I put a tweet out about who, if I was to date somebody who I was shipped with, and you were like second place? I think Bizarre beat you. It was like Bizarre, and then you, and then Otaku Mike, and then Flip.
Oh yeah, there was a Twitter poll. I remember that now.
Oh man, it was.
I mean, obviously it's me. It's 100% me. It doesn't even matter.
You might have to fight Bizarre on it. He might be like, "You can't steal my man." But at least you're number 2. I can still reach you in line.
No, I'm hurt. I'm offended. I am super duper duper offended. And I guess
that is Lohali's biggest fear, guys.
Yep, being super duper offended.
All right, Lohali, time for you to share your biggest fear as a mangatuber.
My biggest fear as a mangatuber would have to be the fear of not. Again, this is going to sound bad no matter how I phrase it, so ripping the band-aid off. Not being successful. I do want this to be a career, something that I can make a life out of. I have poured a lot of time into this. Like, a lot of time. Like, probably too much time. And Sydney has threatened to murder me if this doesn't work out, by the way. So part of my fear is I don't want to be murdered in my sleep by my fiance/future wife. But I also worry that sometimes the ambitions that I have are going to get in the way of friendships and things like that. It's a huge, huge fear of mine. Because I'm not always going to see eye to eye with people that I respect, people that I enjoy. And how do you recover from that? If you don't see eye to eye, let's say that Shae and I didn't see eye to eye. We didn't agree on something. Does that mean that I couldn't have her back on? Or does that mean that, we can have this difference?
No.
Exactly.
I grew up in a house full of boys. Stuff rolls off my back. Give me 5 minutes, I'll be fine.
You'll be fine. But Shae and I would never disagree because she's perfect, unlike me, who is super duper perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, clarification. Neither of us are perfect. We are both human. We make mistakes.
I am a long-haired male. I am slightly...
It doesn't make you perfect.
It could. You don't know that.
No.
Fine, I'm not perfect.
Hey,
but
you might get closer to perfection if you get put on the cover of a smut. Just saying.
The cover of the smut?
Of a smut.
But again, that's my thing is I don't want to lose the connections, but I also worried that I'm ignoring this, by the way.
You just gave me a genius idea for videos. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
All of this right now.
I can't wait. I want you to unlist it and then say, Jen Graves, I want you to be number 1 to watch this. And then I'll say, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And you could be like,
no.
Public.
The first person to see it will be my husband. We'll clarify that. And then
I'll be number 2.
Secondly, it will be anybody included in this particular video.
Oh, I'm in. Oh. I'm so in. I'm down. Cool.
It's gonna take a long time, but you just gave me the best idea. Thank you.
But again, yeah, that's my biggest fear is not necessarily losing the community, but forcing them. Or I don't want to say forcing people away, but treading on feelings while I'm trying to do something that's for myself, because this is a selfish endeavor sometimes, and that's a worry of mine. I don't like hurting people's feelings. I hate confrontation.
And I think that's very normal. A lot of people, most people who start YouTube channels do want to see success from it, and they want to see some sort of kickback from it, even if it's just a little bit of AdSense to help fuel their collection. Other people want to make a living at it. So it's one of those things where it's very natural to worry about your journey from being small and making connections to wanting to be successful. I think that's a very natural and normal thing to feel. When it comes down to it, all you can ever really do is organically be yourself. That's where you're going to get the highest quality content creators. I mean, Rhett and Link of Good Mythical Morning, they do the weirdest crap But what makes it so compulsorily watchable is the fact that they are so themselves while they're doing this ridiculous crap. Like, only on a channel on YouTube would you find two grown men eating whatever kind of testicle they can put into something.
I mean,
And
you
it's
don't eat
hilarious.
you don't eat
Or what
testicles
is
for
it?
breakfast.
Will it Oreo?
Yeah, will it Oreo? Will it taco? Will it?
Oh my god.
Yeah, everything
Love
can
it.
taco. I'm gonna put it this way, guys.
No, we are not talking about Fiesta tacos.
Everything
Sorry,
can taco.
Steven, the peanut gallery's in the corner over here.
Thank you, Peanut Gallery. We appreciate it.
But because those guys are so organically themselves, they've been able to build a community, a successful channel, and they're able to employ other people. So as long as you're organically yourself throughout your journey, though there might come times where you have to step away from someone that you might be collabing with or whatever and move forward, that doesn't mean you're a bad person or they're a bad person. It just means that you want to go in different directions. And again, that's not a bad thing. We're all individuals. We all want different things out of being in this YouTube space. So there are people that I've wanted to collab with in the past and it's never worked out for various reasons. And then other people that I currently collab with, and some are much more successful than me and others aren't. And all of that is okay. There might come a time where I don't want to collab with these people anymore, and I'll let them know in the gentlest, kindest way possible. And hopefully we'll still maintain a friendship and move on from there, because at the end of the day, for some people, YouTube is a hobby, and other people, YouTube's a job. Depending on what space you're in, there will come a point where you won't be able to necessarily spend so much time working with another individual if you want to be successful on your own and maybe support a family like you do locally. So it's just one of those things where there's always going to be those divides in any sort of community, whether YouTube or just working life in general. I mean, work is very competitive, and there's lots of competition in any sort of space. So I feel like I've been rambling on here for a few minutes, but what it comes down to is if people decide to part ways, it's not anything bad or that something bad happened between them. It's just that they're going two different directions, and that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I just hate confrontation. It makes me feel terrible.
And I think that's very normal and very natural to feel, because most people don't like confrontation. There's very few people who actually do. And those people, sometimes you worry if there's a screw loose somewhere. If they like confrontation. That was my ex-husband. He liked confrontation.
But anyway, we are reaching the end of our hour. We're going a little bit over.
Because I went on a tangent again. Sorry.
Hey, there's no problem with that. And obviously, actually, one thing that I would like to be very, very transparent with is the reason why I'm cutting Shae at an hour is because I know that we can go on for another 4. And she's just absolutely amazing, and we've had her on 3 times, and the discussions never slow down. In fact, they keep getting better and better and better.
Has it only been 3 times?
I was gonna say, this is the least tangent-led conversation we've ever had. I'm so proud of us.
I'm impressed, actually. Like, I thought our first... we did good, because we still got our little tangents on, like the milk and cookie tangent. But...
yeah, we did. Where did the glass of milk come from?
I mean, but we did great. I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us, too.
That was super
you didn't
slick.
notice Cindy bring the milk, Jen?
I never saw the milk come in at all.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then you held it up, I was like, how did that get there?
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, and one final note that I really want to end on: never attack anyone's character if you ever disagree with them.
Completely.
Yeah, if you disagree with them, disagree with their point. Their point isn't wrong because of their personality. The point is wrong because the point is wrong.
Your opinions just differ, and it's time to continue to differ on that opinion.
Yeah, and you can still be friends when you have different opinions. And I think that if you
Agreed.
attack somebody because of their different opinion, that's a no-no.
I agree.
Right. That's when somebody private messages Jim Graves.
We are not internet trolls.
He has to break up a fight.
I mean,
Don't worry, it's happened on our Discord many of times. It's happened on a lot of stuff many a times.
call Big Daddy Jin in.
This is why I have my own Discord where everything is happy and fluffy, and we talk about books and manga and video games, and I give Instagram advice. Yes. Come hang out on my Discord server.
I definitely have a
Crap, I kick them out like in a hot second.
Darn
Will
right.
there be milk and cookies?
It's a no tolerating. See, my Discord server is like milk and cookies. Come hang with us.
What about
That should be my pitch.
unicorn?
Come visit my Milk and Cookies Geek Squad.
And my Discord server is non-existent because I am terrible with social media. That is all.
This is true.
It's actually, like, we're not joking. Like, I actually have to set reminders to post on Twitter, otherwise I forget to do it because I get so busy during the day. Or I have to double back and check. Like, I'll think that I've messaged somebody, and I will have it typed up and it will not have sent. Or I'll think that I've messaged somebody, like I will have had the full reply in my head, and I go back, doesn't exist. Plainly doesn't exist. It happens.
It was there. Hold on.
I had one friend, like, straight up, they messaged me like, hey, you ready for coffee this weekend? They messaged me on Monday. I looked, I was like, oh yeah, I'm totally ready for coffee this Saturday at 9 o'clock. Yeah, I'll see you there. Put it back in my pocket. Friday rolls around, hey, never got a confirmation text message from you, we still on for coffee? Oh God. It happens. I'm absolutely terrible at getting back to people. Like, if I see you face to face, I will talk your ear off. If I don't see you, like, I kind of forget that I exist sometimes. Like, if my eyes are closed, I forget that I exist.
Right. I agree. Sometimes I feel like his secretary here and there.
It's true. Jin is absolutely my secretary. He's my Jin. I got nothing clever.
Your ginger terry.
Your Jin Warrior turret? Jin Warrior turret?
My Secra-Jin.
No, that's bad.
Secret.
We'll come up with a name on there.
We will, and we'll get him a little name tag that says it too.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to end this live stream like we've been doing the last few weeks, and it's kind of a habit that I think I want to start getting in on, and that is finishing with an amazing question for our creators, something that I completely think up off the cuff, to let us get to know them a little bit better. Sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's light. Tonight, it's the most important question of all time. What is your favorite cookie?
I totally thought this was going to be the question.
Yep, it is. We're going to do Shae, then it's going to be Jin, then it's going to be me.
It is my mom's Christmas sugar cookies.
Oh.
I have the recipe. I will share. It has homemade frosting and everything. It is the best.
Girl. Oh, girl.
It's a heart attack waiting to happen, but it is delicious.
Luckily, we're going to
It'll give you diabetes.
We're planning a trip. We'll go drive to Shae's house to get cookies and then go back.
I mean, maybe, yeah. Maybe go skiing.
Right?
They do ship well, so
that's good.
I'm down.
Woo.
Jin, what is your favorite cookie?
My favorite cookie actually is really funny because I never thought of the combination till we had this place here open up, and it's oatmeal chocolate chip.
Oatmeal chocolate chip, interesting.
You've never had oatmeal chocolate chip?
No, like I've always heard of like oatmeal raisin or like just plain chocolate chip. So I never before it was snickerdoodle.
Is a staple in Utah because kids don't like their raisins, so mom and dad make oatmeal chocolate chip.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it was my first time ever having one. I was like, oh my god, where has this been in my life?
You take your oatmeal raisin recipe and you replace the raisins with chocolate chips. It's that easy.
Now I'm going to be honest here. My favorite cookie is oatmeal raisin, or it was until just tonight when Sydney decided to experiment and make this thing right here. You can't see it if you're just listening. This is a chocolate chip oatmeal raisin coconut cookie.
Mm.
Wait. dark chocolate, coconut, and sea salt. This is delicious.
So there's not any raisins in there.
I wish there was. We didn't have any raisins at home, but I would have loved raisins because raisins are a sweet little treat.
I would die if I ate that because I'm allergic to coconut.
It's delicious. I won't send you any though. I promise.
Well, good, because I don't want to die today.
Just be
There are
like, hey,
raisins in
will
the
you
other-
like shade them without coconut?
Oh, but anyway, so that is where we're at. Is not killing Shae with coconut cookies. So Jin,
I'm also allergic to avocado. Fun fact.
I'm oddly enough currently not allergic to anything. However, I do have some friends allergic to watermelon. Multiple friends allergic to watermelon.
Well, that's sad.
It is. I was like, I'd never heard about it, and then one friend was like, "Hey,
I love me some watermelon.
they can't even have watermelon gum."
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's that intense.
That's crazy.
So
That's crazy.
Jin, what do you have coming up? What are your kind of upcoming videos? What are we looking forward to?
Oh, I mean, we still have community challenge stuff coming out. More better people, still on the way. I mean, as you know, we have the double days, which are my massive. I almost said unhaul. My massive haul of people that I do recommend. That is going to be on the 15th and the 30th. And then our usual hauls, different stuff like that, on top of a new one that I would like to compare it to an ASMR video, and should be really good.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. That should be kind of fun.
Okay.
What about you, Miss Shaegeeksout?
About me. Okay, tomorrow you get a reading vlog from July 4th through the 8th. So I kind of took my holiday weekend and vlogged it. Not that I did much exciting, but I read a lot, and I read a lot of manga in that time. So, and I also finished playing Persona 5. So there you go. Then the Sailor Moon vlog will be coming soon because I finally have the last half of that series so I can finish reading it. That's the 6 volumes I'm reading tomorrow. And let's see what else is coming up. I've got 3 new manga series I'm going to be reviewing in one video that all dropped first volumes this month.
Good Lord Almighty! So much.
Let's see. There's a lot coming, and I still have shout outs coming. I've got all sorts of stuff. And I've got all my mid-year videos that I haven't even done yet, because there's like mid-year goals check-in, mid-year book freakout tag, all those mid-year kind of videos that are kind of staples in the booktube space. I haven't done mine yet. They're all coming like probably next week. And then the Reading Rush Readathon takes place the week after that, so I will be vlogging that. And July is crazy. Plus, I have an upcoming giveaway. Details to come this weekend.
Oh, you just reminded me that too. I have it on my calendar. The Spartan Challenge is next month too.
Yeah. Oh, that's going on. Yeah. Lots.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks.
I can't do
You screwed us all
challenge.
over.
That's like 100 volumes in a month. I can't make myself do it.
You're welcome.
I will read as much as I can, though.
You're welcome. I appreciate you all.
We're all at least like 31 from doing the 30 for 30.
You're welcome. I appreciate you all. Don't be in
The
trouble.
month of April, I read 72 volumes of manga. You'll both be quiet.
That's actually how much I have to read too. About that.
Jin's like, I've already done the math. I'm in trouble, guys. We are.
Yeah, so am I. So I'm not doing it.
Right. I'll be happy if I can even get 30 done. At that time, just feel like, can I do it?
I guess I'm next. Coming up, we have some pretty big things happening in the next few weeks. On Wednesday next week, we are having Mama Loves Manga coming on.
We've got Aisha coming. Oh, my heart. I love Aisha. What are you guys talking about?
We're having Mom come on?
I can't tell you. It's a surprise for next week. I know. You're going to have to tune in to check.
Of course.
You're going to have to tune in to check. I actually have some pretty big changes coming to my channel. Not this week, but the week after. So be prepared for that. I'm super excited, and I know y'all are going to be excited too. And I'm considering doing a vlog.
Do it. We need more Mangatube vlogs.
I live a pretty boring life. It's a pretty boring life, guys. Not gonna lie. But
Well, so's mine, but people find my vlogs entertaining, so there you go.
You have a much more interesting life than me. I just drive a truck all day. That's what I do. But thank you guys so much for being on and being with us. This is such an amazing and loving community. Shae, thank you so much for being here. Jin, you're legally required to be here, so I don't have to thank you anymore. But thank you so much for joining the Manga Club. I am your president, Lohali. Your vice president is Jin Graves, and the treasurer for the day is Miss Shaegeeksout. I'm trying a new sign out, guys. See how it works. I don't know. Treasurer. I like it. I don't know any other things of like clubs. Like I was in no clubs in high school.
Secretary?
Yeah, but secretary kind of seems like I was like secretary, but then it might seem sexist. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Jin was your secretary. Your VP can be your guest.
Okay, that'll make sense. I'm the president. Jin's the secretary. And
Whoa,
the VP.
Whoa, because there's five things.
For the day.
I got to be the secretary, treasurer, historian. Isn't there one more?
I got nothing here. Like I said,
I was like,
No, I don't think so.
I feel like we had like 5 or 6 people that had positions whenever I had Manga Club.
You had the secretary, undersecretary, community outreach leader. I don't know. There's a lot. Okay.
Secretary.
Yeah.
Anyway, dirty down.
This is the longest sign out ever. But thank you everyone for joining this edition of the Manga Club. For everyone new and old, welcome and welcome back. It's your boy Lohali, and I will see you next video.